I watched Marcus stride into my boardroom like he owned the place. His new wife was hanging on his arm, dripping in diamonds I knew he couldn't afford. He didn't recognize me at first. Why would he? I wasn't wearing the modest clothes he used to pick out for me anymore. "Where's this mystery CEO?" Marcus demanded, his voice echoing off the marble walls. "I flew here personally to tell them their quarterly projections are garbage." Tiffany smiled, touching his arm. "Darling, you're so commanding. It's attractive." I took a slow sip of my coffee and let the chair swivel around. "Hello, Marcus." The color drained from his face so fast I thought he might faint. His mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "Maya?" he choked out. What are you doing here?" I stood up, smoothing down my custom Versace suit. "Welcome to Phoenix Capital headquarters. Oh, I'm sorry. Did no one tell you? I'm the CEO. And as of 5 minutes ago, I own 51% of Titan Tech, which means, Marcus, I own you." Tiffany, perfectly shaped eyebrows drew together. She looked at me, then at Marcus, confused. "Marcus, who is this?" "The woman who built his empire," I said, while he took all the credit. Marcus stumbled backward, his hand gripping the doorframe. "This isn't possible. You can't." "Oh, but I can, and I did. Now sit down, Marcus. We have a lot to discuss." If you want to see how I went from a divorced, broke woman to owning my ex-husband's empire, hit that like button right now and subscribe, because this story, it's about to get good. I'm always curious to see how far these videos travel. Drop a comment below with your city, your country.
5 years ago, everything was different. Marcus and I sat in our tiny apartment, surrounded by empty coffee cups and tangled computer cables. The AC was broken again, and sweat dripped down my face as I typed furiously. "Marcus, I got it!" I jumped up, nearly knocking over my laptop. "The algorithm works. We can process payments 50% faster than anyone else in the market." Marcus looked up from his phone, grinning. "That's my girl. You're a genius, Maya. An absolute genius." He wrapped his arms around me, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. We were partners. We were building something together. "This is it," he whispered into my hair. "This is going to change our lives." He had no idea how right he was. The next 6 months were a blur. I worked 20-hour days perfecting the code while Marcus pitched to investors. I didn't mind staying in the background. Someone had to build the actual product while he sold the dream. Our first major investor was a man named Richard Crane, old money, the kind of rich where your family name opens doors before you even knock. I was so excited for the meeting. I'd prepared a full presentation, ready to explain the technical innovations that made our platform revolutionary. But when I walked into the conference room in my best blazer, Marcus grabbed my arm. "Maya, wait." His voice was tight. "Let me handle this meeting alone." "What? Why? I built the entire system." "I know, baby, I know." He glanced toward the door where I could see Richard sitting. "But these old-school investors, they're not used to, they expect a certain image." "What image?" Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Look, I'm not saying I agree with it, but Richard mentioned he prefers working with traditional teams. Just trust me on this. Stay in the back office, keep doing your magic, and let me handle the face-to-face stuff." Something cold settled in my stomach, but I pushed it down. "Marcus, are you saying—" "I'm saying let's not rock the boat before we even get the boat." He kissed my forehead quickly. "Once we're established, once we're making real money, none of this'll matter, I promise." I should have walked away right then, but I believed him. God help me, I believed him. Richard invested $2 million, then $5 million, then $20 million, and with every check, Marcus pushed me further into the shadows. "Maya, wear something more professional to the launch party. Maya, maybe straighten your hair for the board photos. Maya, the investors think having a woman in the pitch looks us too progressive. Let's keep you behind the scenes for now." Every time I objected, he'd use the same line. "Just until we're established, baby, just until we're secure." But we were never secure enough. There was always another investor to impress, another board member to please, another traditional expectation to meet. The day Titan Tech went public, I stood in the back of the New York Stock Exchange watching Marcus ring the opening bell.
Every major news outlet was there. Every tech magazine wanted an interview with the visionary founder. Not one of them knew my name. That night, we celebrated at a restaurant I'd only seen in magazines. Marcus ordered champagne that cost more than our old monthly rent. We did it, he raised his glass. We're worth $50 million, Maya. $50 million. I mean, I'm worth $20 million, I corrected gently. I own 40% of the company, remember? His smile flickered. Right, of course, equal partners. But his eyes said something different. Things changed fast after that. Within 3 years, Titan Tech exploded. We went from $50 million to $1 billion valuation. Marcus started spending more time at networking events I wasn't invited to. He hired a publicist who told him he needed to refine his image. He bought a penthouse in Manhattan. He started wearing suits that cost more than I used to make in a year. And he started looking at me differently. But the worst moment? That came at the TechCrunch Disrupt Gala. We were at the event, surrounded by tech billionaires and venture capitalists. I was wearing a dress I felt beautiful in. Deep purple, elegant, professional. I went to grab a canapé from a passing tray, and a board member's wife tapped me on the shoulder. "Excuse me," she said, handing me her empty champagne glass. "Could you get me a refill and a napkin?" I froze. My hand was halfway to my mouth with the canapé. I don't work here. I'm the CTO of Titan Tech." "Oh, you're Marcus's partner? I assumed you were with catering. You have that look." My stomach twisted. "What look?" She waved her hand dismissively. "Never mind. Where is Marcus? I need to speak with him about the charity board." Marcus saw the whole thing. He was 10 feet away, watching. Our eyes met. He didn't defend me. He didn't correct her. He just laughed awkwardly and steered her away. "Sorry about that," he said to her, loud enough for me to hear. "She's actually leaving early, not feeling well." Then he walked over to me, his smile tight. "Maya, maybe you should head home. I'll handle the rest of the night." "Marcus, that woman just—" "I know, and I'll talk to her, but right now it's just easier if you're not here. Please, for me." He put me in a cab like I was a problem to be solved, like I was an embarrassment. I should have left him that night. "Maya, we need to talk about your role in the company." A week later, we were in his new office, which was roughly the size of our old apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Central Park. "My role? I'm the chief technology officer. I built the entire platform." I know, he wouldn't look me in the eyes. "But the board they think we need someone with more public presence in that position." "Public presence, Marcus? I have a master's in computer science from MIT. I have 6 patents in payment processing. What does presence have to do with anything?" "It's not about qualifications." He finally looked at me. "It's about image. The board wants someone who can represent the company at conferences, someone who can fit the brand we're building." "Fit the brand," I repeated slowly. "And I don't fit? That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying, Marcus?" He ran his hair through his hair, a gesture I used to find endearing. Now it just looked like frustration. "Look, you're brilliant. Everyone knows that. But Titan Tech is entering the global market now. We're dealing with international investors, old money families, Fortune 500 CEOs. These people have expectations. Expectations that I'm too black to meet? Don't make this about race. Then what is it about?" He had no answer for that. 2 weeks later, I was promoted to senior advisor, a meaningless title that came with the same salary but none of the authority. Marcus replaced me with a white man named Chad, who had half my education and none of my experience. But Chad looked good in photos. I tried to convince myself it was temporary, that Marcus was just stressed from the pressure of running a billion-dollar company, that the man I loved in that tiny apartment was still in there somewhere. Then I met Tiffany.
I'll never forget the night my world fell apart. Marcus had been distant for months. Late nights at the office, weekend business trips, texts he wouldn't let me see. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to believe it. Then I got a message from an unknown number. Just a photo. Marcus at a restaurant, his hand on a blonde woman's thigh. The woman was laughing, her head thrown back. She looked young. Too young. My hands shook as I dialed his number. "Maya, I'm in a meeting." "Are you with her right now?" Silence. Long enough to confirm everything. "I can explain.
Then explain. Explain why you're at Bella Luna with another woman when you told me you were in Boston for a conference. More silence. Come home, Marcus. Right now. He showed up 3 hours later, smelling like perfume that wasn't mine. Her name is Tiffany, he said, not even bothering to sit down, and I'm in love with her. The words hit me like a physical blow. You're what? I didn't plan for this to happen, Maya, but we've grown apart. You have to feel it too. We've grown apart because you pushed me away. My voice cracked. I gave up everything for you, for this company, for us. And I'm grateful for that. He still wouldn't look at me. But I need someone who can be my partner in public, someone who can stand next to me at galas and investor meetings, someone who fits the life I'm building. Someone white, you mean? Don't make this about race. Then what is it about? I was screaming now, tears streaming down my face. I loved you. I built your company. I stood by you when we had nothing. And now we have everything. But we want different things, Maya. You want to stay in the lab, coding, being behind the scenes. I need someone who wants to be in the spotlight with me. You never gave me the chance to be in the spotlight. You hid me away like I was something to be ashamed of. He finally met my eyes. Maybe I was. Those 4 words destroyed me. The divorce was brutal. Marcus's lawyers were ruthless, painting me as an angry black woman who was difficult to work with and contributed far less than she claimed. They had testimony from board members I'd never even met, all saying variations of the same thing. Maya was just support staff. Marcus was the genius behind Titan Tech. They offered me a settlement of $5 million, a fraction of what I was entitled to. Take it or leave it, Marcus's lawyer said, sliding the papers across the conference table. If you fight this, we'll make sure you never work in tech again. Marcus has friends in every major company in Silicon Valley. He'll make one phone call and you'll be blacklisted. I looked at Marcus, hoping to see some flicker of the man I'd loved, but he was scrolling through his phone, bored. Fine. I signed the papers with shaking hands. But you'll regret this, Marcus. He laughed. Actually laughed. Regret what? Regret becoming a billionaire? Regret marrying a woman who actually wants to be seen with me? Face it, Maya. You were just the help. You should be grateful I'm giving you anything at all. I walked out of that office with nothing but a check and a heart full of rage. For 3 months, I did nothing but cry. I lived in a studio apartment that smelled like mold. I ate ramen because it was all I could afford, while my lawyers took their cut. I couldn't get a job because Marcus was true to his word. Every company I applied to suddenly had budget concerns or decided to go in a different direction. One recruiter was honest with me. Look, off the record, Marcus Chen called our CEO personally, said you were difficult and litigious and played the race card constantly. Nobody wants that drama. I wanted to die. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to erase the past 5 years and go back to the woman I was before I met Marcus. But then I got angry. Really angry. I was watching the news one night, eating my 3rd pack of ramen that day, when Marcus's face filled the screen. Billionaire tech mogul Marcus Chen announced his engagement to model Tiffany Drake today. The couple celebrated with a $10 million party in the Hamptons, where Chen gifted his fiancée a diamond ring worth an estimated $2 million. $2 million on a ring while I was eating 19-cent noodles. I threw the bowl at the TV screen. Then I picked up my laptop and started working. If I couldn't work for anyone else, I'd work for myself. If Marcus controlled Silicon Valley, I'd build something he couldn't touch. And if he wanted to destroy Maya Chen, fine. She was gone. I became M.L. Sterling. I used my $5 million to invest in a struggling startup called Novus Systems. The founder was a brilliant young black woman named Keisha, who'd been rejected by every major investor in the valley. Her tech was revolutionary, a new approach to cloud security that could change everything. But she didn't have the right connections. She didn't fit the image. Sound familiar? Why are you helping me? Keisha asked when I wrote the check. Because I know exactly what it feels like to be invisible, and I'm done being invisible. Novus Systems exploded. Within a year, we landed 3 major contracts. Within 2 years, we went public. Within 3 years, I'd turned my $5 million into $50 million. But I wasn't satisfied, not even close. I started buying small companies that Marcus had overlooked, failed startups that had one good patent, tech firms that were bleeding money but had valuable assets. And I started hiring every talented person of color who'd been passed over, every brilliant woman who'd been told she wasn't leadership material, every genius who didn't fit the culture of Silicon Valley. We built an empire in the shadows while Marcus was busy being famous. I watched him on TV, at parties, on magazine covers, always with Tiffany on his arm, always talking about his vision and his innovation, never mentioning my name. Good. Let him forget me. Let him think I'd disappeared. Let him get comfortable, because I was coming for everything he had. Then I saw it, the article that changed everything. Titan Tech stock plummets as CEO focuses on lifestyle brand. I read it 3 times, my heart pounding. Titan Tech was bleeding. The stock had crashed from $80 a share to $8. The company that had been worth billions was now valued at barely $100 million. Marcus was so focused on his image, on being the face of innovation, that he'd stopped actually innovating. The company was surviving on its old reputation, but newer, faster, better platforms were destroying their market share. And Marcus's solution? Spend more money on marketing. Buy a yacht, throw bigger parties, marry a model, act like everything was fine. The board was panicking. They needed cash fast. They were looking for investors. That's when my lawyer, Patricia, called me. Maya, Titan Tech is looking for a major capital infusion. They're willing to sell up to 51% of the company.
My heart stopped. 51%? They're desperate. The company is undervalued right now because of the stock crash. It's a fire sale. But nobody wants to buy a sinking ship. What if someone knew the ship wasn't sinking? I said slowly. What if someone knew the captain was just drunk on his own ego? Maya, what are you thinking? I'm thinking I want to buy Titan Tech. With what money? Even at the crashed valuation, you'd need at least $60 million for 51%. You have $50 million. Then I'll leverage everything I have. I'll take out loans. I'll put up my entire portfolio as collateral. Maya, that's insane. If this fails, you won't just be broke. You'll be in debt for the rest of your life. Then I won't fail. My voice was steel. Set up the meeting, but do it through Phoenix Capital. I don't want Marcus to know who the buyer is until it's too late. Patricia was silent for a long moment. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. The deal took 3 months to finalize. 3 months of paperwork and negotiations and sleepless nights. 3 months of risk that made my stomach churn every morning. I borrowed $10 million from 3 different banks, putting up everything I owned as collateral. If Titan Tech didn't recover, I'd lose it all. My companies, my investments, everything. It was all or nothing. 3 months of watching Marcus on TV, announcing that Titan Tech was entering an exciting new partnership with Phoenix Capital, bragging about how he'd secured the future of the company. He had no idea he'd just sold his empire to his ex-wife. The contract was signed on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, I owned 51% of Titan Tech. By Thursday, Marcus knew. Marcus called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I scheduled an emergency board meeting for Friday afternoon. Patricia warned me, he's going to fight this. He'll lawyer up, he'll make a scene, Let him, I said calmly. I have the majority share. I have the board's support, and I have 5 years of receipts on every illegal thing he's done with company money. You've been investigating him? Since the day I signed those divorce papers. Friday came. I arrived at Titan Tech headquarters for the first time in 4 years. The building had changed. Everything was marble and gold now.
expensive and flashy and utterly lacking in substance, just like Marcus. The receptionist didn't recognize me. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this floor is for executives only." "I know," I said, showing her my badge. "I'm the new CEO." Her eyes went wide. "Oh, I'm so sorry, Miss Sterling. Mr. Chen didn't tell you you were coming." I'm sure he didn't. I walked through the halls, my heels clicking on the marble. Employees stared. Some whispered. None of them knew who I was. Perfect. The boardroom was exactly as I remembered it. Same long table, same uncomfortable chairs, same view of the city I'd helped build. The board members stood when I entered. "Miss Sterling," Richard Crane said, extending his hand. The same Richard Crane who'd invested in us years ago, the one Marcus said preferred traditional teams. "We're honored to finally meet the woman behind Phoenix Capital. Your reputation precedes you." "Does it?" I shook his hand firmly. "I'm surprised you've heard of me." "Are you kidding? You've built one of the most successful venture capital firms on the West Coast. You have an eye for talent that's unmatched. When we heard you were interested in Titan Tech, we were thrilled." I sat down at the head of the table, Marcus's chair. It felt right. "Where is Marcus?" "He's on his way. He was resistant to this meeting." "I bet." The doors burst open 10 minutes later. Marcus stormed in with Tiffany trailing behind him in a dress that probably cost more than most people's cars. That's when we arrived at the moment I described at the beginning, the moment his face went white, the moment everything changed. "Maya, what are you doing here?" "I'm owning this company now, Marcus, 51%, which means I own this building. I own these chairs. I own that ugly painting you spent company funds on." I gestured to a hideous abstract piece on the wall. "And most importantly, I own your contract." "This is insane. You can't just—" "Actually, I can. The board has already voted. You're being removed as CEO effective immediately." "What?" He turned to Richard. "You can't do this. I built this company." "Actually," I said softly, "I built this company. You just took credit for it." Tiffany stepped forward, her face carefully neutral. "I'm sorry, but there must be a mistake. Marcus, who is this woman?" Before Marcus could answer, she turned to me with a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Excuse me, could you clarify your position here? I want to make sure we're all on the same page." I smiled back, just as cold. "I'm the majority shareholder, the CEO, and your husband's ex-wife." The polite mask cracked. "You're that woman? The one from before?" "That woman, yes. The one who wasn't good enough to stand next to him at parties? The one who didn't fit the brand?" I turned back to Marcus. "How's the brand doing now, by the way? I saw the quarterly reports, down 40%. Stock price crashed. Turns out firing all your talented engineers and replacing them with people who look good in photos isn't a great business strategy." "You don't understand the pressure I was under." "Oh, I understand perfectly. You were under pressure to succeed, so you used me. You took my work, put your name on it, and threw me away when I stopped being useful." I stood up. "But here's what you didn't understand, Marcus. I didn't need you. I never needed you. You needed me." "This is ridiculous. I'll sue. I'll fight this." "You can try." I nodded to Patricia, who slid a folder across the table. "But I should warn you, that folder contains evidence of every company fund you've misused over the past 3 years, the yacht you bought with the executive travel budget, the apartment you purchased for your mistress, the one before Tiffany, using company assets, that $2 million engagement ring, classified as a business entertainment expense. Should I go on?" Marcus's face went from white to red. "You've been spying on me?" "I've been documenting your fraud. There's a difference." "You vindictive—" "Careful," I warned. "There are 12 witnesses in this room. I'd hate for you to add harassment to the list of charges." Tiffany's carefully maintained composure finally shattered. She grabbed Marcus's arm, her voice rising. "Wait, you bought an apartment for a mistress with company money? Marcus, what is she talking about?" "Tiffany, not now." "Not now? You told me you sold your old apartment. You said that money went into our wedding. How much else have you been lying about?"
I said, not now. The board members looked uncomfortable. Richard cleared his throat. Perhaps we should discuss the transition privately. No, I said firmly. Marcus likes to do things publicly. He liked humiliating me in front of investors. He liked telling people I wasn't smart enough, wasn't refined enough, wasn't white enough to be part of his world, so he can hear this in front of everyone. I walked around the table until I was standing right in front of him. You're fired, Marcus. You have 24 hours to clear out your personal items. Security will escort you from the building, and if you try to contact any of our clients or employees, I'll file charges for corporate espionage on top of the embezzlement. You can't do this. I already did. Tiffany was staring at the folder, her face pale. Marcus, how much money did you steal? I didn't steal anything. It was my company. It was our company, I corrected. And you stole from it. You stole from me. You stole from every employee who trusted you, and now you're going to pay for it. Marcus took a step toward me, his face twisted with rage. For a second, I thought he might actually try to hit me, but security was already there, 2 large men who grabbed his arms. Get your hands off me. Do you know who I am? You're the guy who just got fired, one of them said. Let's go. They dragged him toward the door. Tiffany was following, her designer heels clicking frantically on the marble, firing questions he wouldn't answer. As Marcus reached the door, he turned back one last time. You think you've won? You think this is over? I'll destroy you, Maya. I'll make sure you never... You already tried that, I said calmly. It didn't work out so well for you, did it? The door closed. The boardroom was silent. Then Richard started clapping, slowly at first, then faster. Soon the entire board was applauding. Miss Sterling, Richard said, I think this is the beginning of something remarkable. I smiled. I think you're right.
The news broke that night. Shocking change at Titan Tech. Marcus Chen removed as CEO after majority shareholder takeover. Marcus Chen's ex-wife revealed as the mysterious investor behind Phoenix Capital. From divorced and broke to billionaire CEO, the Maya Sterling story. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Every news outlet wanted an interview. Every magazine wanted my story. I gave one interview, just one. Miss Sterling, how does it feel to own the company your ex-husband built? He didn't build it, I corrected. I did. He just took credit, and now I'm taking back what was always mine. Some people are calling this revenge. I call it justice. Marcus believed he could erase me. He believed that because I was black, because I was a woman, because I didn't fit his image of success, I would just disappear. But I didn't disappear. I got stronger, I got smarter, and I got even. What's next for Titan Tech? Everything Marcus should have done years ago. We're going to innovate. We're going to invest in the talent he overlooked. We're going to build a company that values substance over image. I looked directly into the camera. And to everyone out there who's been told they're not enough, who's been told they don't fit, who's been erased by people like Marcus, don't disappear. Get even. The news went viral. Within a week, I had 50 applications from talented people who'd been pushed out of the industry. Within a month, Titan Tech's stock was climbing again. Within 3 months, we'd launched 2 new products that Marcus had shelved because they weren't flashy enough. Turns out, substance sells better than image. I promoted Keisha to Chief Innovation Officer. I hired back every person of color Marcus had fired or forced out. I created a scholarship fund for women and minorities in tech, named after my mother. And I changed the company culture completely. No more old boys club, no more traditional expectations, no more hiding brilliant people in the back office because they didn't fit someone's narrow idea of what success should look like. 6 months after the takeover, I was leaving the office late one night when I saw him. Marcus, sitting on a bench outside the building. He looked nothing like the confident billionaire I'd known. His suit was wrinkled, he had bags under his eyes, he looked broken. Our eyes met across the plaza. He stood up slowly, like an old man, and walked toward me. "Maya, can we talk?" Every part of me wanted to walk away, to leave him there, alone, the way he'd left me. But curiosity won. "You have 2 minutes." Tiffany left me, took everything she could, and moved to Monaco. His voice was hollow. "All my accounts are frozen because of the investigation. I can't get a job because everyone knows what I did. I've applied to 50 companies. Nobody will even interview me." "Sounds familiar," I said coldly. I know I deserve this. But Maya, we were partners once. We built something together. I'm asking you, can you give me a job? Anything. I'll do whatever you need." For a moment, just a moment, I felt something that might have been pity. Then I remembered. The champagne glass, the board meeting where I was told I didn't fit, the divorce papers, the check for $5 million like I was a problem to be solved. "You told me I was just the help," I said quietly. "You said you should be grateful you gave me anything at all. Maya, please. You made one phone call and destroyed my career. You blacklisted me across the entire industry. You told people I was difficult, aggressive, that I played the race card." My voice was getting louder. "You took the empire I built and put your name on it. You erased me." "I'm sorry. God, Maya, I'm so sorry." "No, you're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry that it didn't work out for you." I stepped closer. "You're not sorry you betrayed me. You're sorry you lost." "That's not true." "Yes, it is. And you know what the funny thing is, Marcus? I thought about hiring you. I thought about giving you some low-level position, letting you see what it feels like to be invisible. But then I realized something." I smiled, and it wasn't kind. "You're not worth the charity. You're not worth the risk. You're not worth anything to me anymore." His face crumpled. "Maya, please, I'll starve. I have nothing." "Then I guess you should be grateful for the nothing," I said, echoing his words 5 years ago. "After all, it's more than you deserve." I turned and walked toward my car. Behind me, I heard him start to cry, actual sobs. I didn't look back. 3 months later, I heard through the grapevine that Marcus was working at a tech support call center, making $14 an hour, living in a studio apartment not unlike the one where we'd started. Full circle. A year after the takeover, I stood on the same stage where Marcus had once rung the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. But this time, I was ringing it for Phoenix Capital's IPO. The company was now worth $5 billion, not because we had the best marketing or the flashiest CEO, but because we had the best people, the people everyone else had overlooked. As the bell rang and the trading floor erupted in applause, I thought about the woman I was 5 years ago, sitting in that moldy apartment eating ramen, thinking her life was over. I wish I could tell her what I know now, that being erased doesn't mean you're gone, that being told you're not enough doesn't make it true, that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the beginning of your greatest triumph. Marcus taught me I couldn't win in his world, so I built my own. After the ceremony, a young black woman approached me. She was nervous, clutching a resume. "Miss Sterling, I'm sorry to bother you, but I just wanted to say thank you. I watched your interview last year and it changed my life. I was about to quit tech because my boss kept telling me I wasn't leadership material. But after hearing your story, I decided to start my own company instead." "How's it going?" I asked. "We just got our first major contract." Her smile was radiant. "I wouldn't have had the courage without you." I handed her my card. "Call me next week. Let's talk about Phoenix Capital investing in your company." She stared at the card like it was made of gold. "Really? Really? I invest in people everyone else overlooks. That's kind of my thing now." As she walked away, practically floating, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because I'd destroyed Marcus, not because I'd gotten revenge, but because I'd proven that success isn't about fitting into someone else's image of what you should be. It's about being so authentically yourself that you create a new image entirely. Marcus tried to erase me because he thought I didn't fit his world. He was right.
I didn't fit his world. I built a better one. And the best part? I didn't just win. I won so completely that his name became a cautionary tale. Business schools now teach case studies about the Marcus Chen collapse, how ego and discrimination destroyed $1 billion company. My name? They teach about me, too. About M.L. Sterling. About the woman who turned a $5 million divorce settlement into a $5 billion empire. About the woman who refused to disappear.
I still see Marcus sometimes, around the city. Once, at a coffee shop where I was meeting with investors, he was behind the counter, making lattes. Our eyes met. He looked away first. Good, because this isn't a story about forgiveness. I don't need to forgive him to move forward. I don't need his apology to know my worth. I don't need anything from him at all anymore. This is a story about what happens when someone tries to bury you but forgets you're a seed. Marcus thought firing me was the end of my story. He was wrong. It was just the beginning. If you enjoyed this story, if it inspired you, if it made you believe that you can overcome anything, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, stop what you're doing and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me about a time someone underestimated you, and share this video with someone who needs to hear that they're enough exactly as they are.